Well, the scientists over at 24/7 Sports are at it again today. Yesterday they had the bowl projections that they put out. I swear, man, I can't get over that. Somebody had to sit down and predict which two teams were playing in the Boca Raton Bowl. Amazing to do that in April. But they're at it again today. This time, SEC win totals. I'm not sure if the Vegas odds are out on this yet or not. Vegas puts out, you can bet on win totals. They'll put, an over-under basically is the way Vegas will do it. So, they'll like take Alabama, for example, the over-under on number of regular season wins, right? And for Alabama, it'll probably be 11 and a half. So if you think they're going 12-0, you bet the over. If you think they're going to lose a game, which will be 11-1 or worse, you would take the under. I don't know if the Vegas numbers are out on that yet. Maybe I should have looked before I did this video. Did you think about that, Lou? No, I didn't think about it until I was already doing the video. But 24/7 Sports has put out their predicted win totals for every SEC team. I saw this on Twitter. I'll put it up on the screen in a second so you can see the projected win totals for every team. Now, I don't have a huge problem, I don't think, with any of these numbers that you're about to see. There are a few teams, though, that I would have a win or two more or maybe a win or two less. And that's what I want to know from you guys when I put this up on the screen. What jumps out at you? Is there somebody on here that you're just like, no way. There's no way they're winning that many games. They're winning more than that. Or there's no way they're winning that many games. They're winning less than that. Is there one that jumps out at you? And if there is, let me know. Look, for example, if they've got somebody winning 10 games, that means 10-2. These are regular season numbers now. So you're not going to see anybody predicted for 15 wins. These are regular season. So if you see somebody predicted for 8 wins, that means they're predicted to go 8-4. If you disagree and you think they're going 10-2, tell me the 2 teams you think they're going to lose to. If they're predicted to go 8-4 and you think they're going 6-6, tell me the 6 teams you think they're going to lose to. Let's put it up on the screen and take a look at it. All right, here it is. Projected 2022 SEC win totals according to Bud Elliott over at 24/7 Sports. Not a real surprise to me that, and they've got them broken down. The SEC West is on the left, the SEC East is on the right, but not a real surprise to me. Georgia and Alabama at 11 games each. Both of those teams are going to be favored in every game they play. It's really hard to go undefeated. So picking 11-1 for Georgia and Alabama, I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I don't do my predictions. I start my predictions in June. But it's not crazy to me to have Alabama and Georgia at 11. Let's go down the SEC West first. Now, they've got Texas A&M at 9. Now, I think 9-3 would be a good season for Texas A&M. I don't think that's what the Texas A&M fans are looking for. They want to win the West. I mean, they beat Alabama last year, but that wasn't the problem. The problem was 3 or 4 head-scratching losses. I mean, how you beat Alabama and turn around and lose to some of the teams they did. And for Texas A&M, that wasn't just last year either. Really, with the exception of 2020, the COVID year, where they went 9-1 or something, it just seems like they lose 4 games every single year. So they have to avoid losing games they're supposed to win, right? And then couple that with a win over Alabama, that would get you to the SEC title game. I don't think 9-3 is a crazy prediction for Texas A&M. I'm not sure that that's one I'll agree on when I do my predictions in June, but they've got them at 9. Ole Miss at 8. They won 10 games last year. They lose some people. They've done great in the transfer portal. I mean, who's Ole Miss going to lose to? Probably Bama. Will they lose to A&M? I think that'll be a good game, honestly. Texas A&M versus Ole Miss will be a good game. They should beat LSU. I don't know. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with 8-4 for Ole Miss. Arkansas at 7. Now, Arkansas has been trending up the last couple of years. Arkansas would like to get more than 7 wins. This looks like 7-5 here. I don't have a huge problem with that either. LSU, they've got going 7-5. LSU, to me, is kind of the wild card in the SEC West this year. They've got a lot of talent. They probably have the second most talented roster behind Alabama. Texas A&M's got a bunch of talent too. they're definitely in the top 3 in terms of talent, overall talent in the SEC West. They've had a couple of bad years in a row under Ed Orgeron, fired him. They bring in Brian Kelly. We know Brian Kelly can win. We've seen him do it, but that's at Notre Dame, playing 4 or 5 ACC teams a year, a couple of service academies in Southern Cal and Stanford and stuff like that. But so, schedule a little more difficult now for Brian Kelly. LSU's got the talent to win more than 7 games. They've got the talent to go 9-3, 10-2. Can they do it in Brian Kelly's first year in the SEC West? I don't know. They've got him at 7-5 here. Mississippi State at 7 and Auburn at 6. I disagree with those. I think Mississippi State and Auburn will not win 7 and 6 games. I don't think either one of those teams will make a bowl game. I think both those teams are going to be horrible, in my opinion. Looking over to the SEC East, Georgia with 11. Okay. Tennessee at 8-4. I think Tennessee could potentially go 9-3. Now, to do that, in my opinion, they're going to have to beat Pitt early in the year, beat Florida in week 4. That'll put them at 4-0. They're probably going to lose to Georgia. They're probably going to lose to Bama. Their other SEC opponent is LSU, or their SEC West opponent this year is LSU. If they beat LSU, then they can lose a game against somebody in the East. If they beat LSU. If they lose to LSU, they're going to have to sweep the East, except for Georgia, to get to 9 wins. So 8-4 probably makes the most sense for Tennessee, but I think they could go 9-3. Florida at 7 wins. Florida and LSU is a similar situation to me. Florida is a lot more talented than their record indicated last year. I mean, they completely fell apart the second half of the season. So they're a team that has the talent to win more than 7 games. But anytime you got a coach in there in his first year, you have to have some hesitation because you really don't know what you're going to get, right? So they've got Florida at 7-5. I could see Florida going 7-5. I could also see Florida going 9-3. Losing to Georgia. They play Utah early in the season. Actually, that game against Utah is probably going to determine whether they win, 7 or 8 games or 8 or 9 games. Kentucky at 7 wins. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that think this is pretty low. Kentucky's been hovering around the 10-win mark for a couple of years now. Kentucky likes what they have coming back. That might be a little low for Kentucky. Mizzou at 6. This just seems like somebody almost just didn't even put any thought in this and just went, well, it's Missouri. Who cares? Let's just put them at 6-6. If Missouri gets a quarterback, and they're trying to get JT Daniels, if Missouri gets a playmaking QB, I think they could win 6, 7, or 8 games. If they don't, they could go 4-8, honestly. South Carolina at 6. I can tell you something right now. The fan base that's going to be the most mad, in my opinion, about this list is South Carolina. The South Carolina fans have a lot of hope and expectations right now, and I don't really blame them. I mean, regardless of what you think about Spencer Rattler and how he behaved himself at Oklahoma, and even going back further to that TV show he was on in high school, the guy is supremely talented. He's probably the most talented, just pure talent, quarterback South Carolina's ever had. Outside of like maybe Jadeveon Clowney and Marcus Lattimore, he's probably he's got to be one of, if not the highest rated players South Carolina's ever had, regardless of position. And they overachieved last year. Remember, most people had South Carolina going like 3-9 or 4-8 last year. And they were 2 or 3 games better than that in Beamer's first year. He's back. If I had to pick one team on this list that to bet money on would win more games than what's listed here, it would be South Carolina. And Vandy, 2 wins. Wow. It just when you think it can't get any worse for Vandy, they're just absolutely horrible. 2 wins? I don't know. And look, if Vandy goes 2-10, I guess that's 2 non-conference wins. Anyway, let me know down below. What's the one team that's on here that's the most wrong, right? Is it South Carolina? I think South Carolina could go 8-4. I think South Carolina could finish second in the East. Maybe third, third. I mean, it's going to, Tennessee, Kentucky, South Carolina, right? Tennessee, Kentucky, South Carolina. One of them's finishing third, probably. I don't think it'll be Florida. Well, maybe it will. Let me know what you think about these win totals down below.